Over the holidays, I bought myself a Eachine TX16S transmitter for the Piper Cub. This has 16 channels, so I'll be able to run all of the flat ailerons and elevator off dual channels instead of running through a Y splitter. This means I can do the mix as well. I can even mix aileron and flap together so the ailerons and flaps both drop at the same time. I did notice an issue with the elevator. If I went elevator from max to max quite fast, they would get out of sync and then they'd start flapping around opposite each other. I'm hoping that was a problem with the transmitter. This transmitter is a lot better than the old one, so I'll get this box open, have a quick look at it, then I'm going to throw it into the computer, upgrade to Edge TX. This currently runs OpenTX out of the box, and it's an open source software. Someone's forked that and made what's called Edge TX. I'll upgrade to that, and then that activates the touchscreen because it's got a nice big coloured touchscreen on it as well. Once I've done all that, I'll head down to the plane, get it out, and put it all together. Let's get this box open. Instruction manual, no one needs that. Comes with USB-C cable, screen protector, and a couple of extra springs for the controls. Keep this box. I'll likely on this box put a couple of Velcro tabs on here to be able to Velcro it shut, and it's going to be my transit case for it, and you don't get any damage on any of these switches. I'll throw this into the computer, upgrade it to Edge TX, and then bring it back.
A few moments later.
Okay, I've upgraded to Edge TX and put in a model and set up the controls to how I think they should be. I can always do it on the controller at the time of being down there, so it will just be a little bit more difficult. However, it is touchscreen now, or the touchscreen has been activated through Edge TX. Let's power this on and have a look.
Welcome to Edge TX. Throttle warning.
So throttle warning because the throttle's not all the way back. There we go. On the screen here, hopefully it's visible. I've named all these: aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder, aileron, elevator, flap, and throttle cut. So on the throttle, so that goes from negative 100 all the way up to 100 being max. And even when it's halfway, I've actually put in a little curve, so it's a lot smoother at lower until you get to the higher where you can just jam it open. The aileron, I've got the two aileron channels, channel 1 and 5, so they go opposite each other. And then the elevator has got two channels as well, channel 2 and 6, which go the same way as each other. And then I'll put the flap just on the switch for now. I don't know whether I'm going to have it on a slider in the end to see how it goes. I'll have flaps up, take off, and then flaps fully down. On the switch I'll put my throttle cut, so that's how I'll cut the throttle when it's time to turn the engine off. Pretty good controller from what I've seen. It's a fair bit bigger than the one I was going to use. Yeah, this was just having the problem where I couldn't control anything above channel 6, so I couldn't actually have channel 7, 8 and 9 as flaps and a throttle cut because yeah, it's just problems and I had to have a Y connector, so hopefully I've gone away from that. All the trims and everything are a lot better on this new controller. I'm going to head down to my shed, get this set up. Hopefully the batteries are all charged enough for the testing of the servos and whatnot. I'll hook the wings up today, get everything, all the servos in position. I'll try and set up the throttle servo as best I can without starting the engine. I want quite a bit of the range down at the idle to be quite slow, so you can sort of taxi it around on slow speeds, or when you're coming into land, slow speeds, but then once the throttle's past about halfway, you don't really need much control over it. You either full throttle or somewhere around there. One great thing about this controller is too, because it runs on the same receivers, the telemetry sensors that all were working with this, the voltage, the RPM and the altitude and whatever else I had, will still work on this, so I'll try and get them on the screen here as well. See you down at the shed.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Well, first off I'm going to cut these cable ties off so I can take off these Y splitters that I have on the ailerons and the flaps. Then I'll get the elevator ones as well. Once I do that, I'll bind this to the receiver, or bind the receiver to the transmitter, and then I'll set up all my connections in the correct spots to what I've set up on the transmitter. Then I'll hook the wings on and make sure it all works how I want. So let's test out these flaps. And they are backwards, similar to the how the elevator was. So we'll just sort that out. Alrighty, both flaps are up, middle, and down. And kind of like I suspected, being the elevator and the flaps are out, the ailerons are doing what I wanted the flaps to do, so we'll just swap them around. And give that a go. So rolling to the right, left hand wing gets lift, right hand wing loses lift. Rolling to the left, right hand wing gets lift, and left hand wing loses lift. And elevator pulling up is correct, pushing down is correct. And let's see, rudder to the right, rudder goes to the right, left, rudder goes to the left, that's good. And one thing I haven't tested is throttle cut. If I turn this switch on, get a red light, and no, that's not doing anything. Take the wings off and have a look at that. Okay, throttle cut. Why you no work? I think it's because I'm running it off that. Just do a quick test. Grab my battery. Lights off. Flick my switch. Lights on.
2 hours later.
So I've got the receiver plugged in and the transmitter connected, and now I'm going to have a look at the telemetry data to see if I can get that set up. Should just better go discover new. Oh wow, there we go. What have we got? Temperature, altitude, and pressure. Those three must come from the altitude telemetry sensor. A1 looks like it is the receiver voltage. There's my RPM. A3 looks like it's the voltage meter. Oh, that's both the voltage meters. One's not plugged in, but it's reading slightly some voltage. And it's flashing between those two. I'm wondering now, because I have them in parallel, whether this new transmitter can receive them in two separate blocks. So I'm wondering if I can have it in a series chain, a daisy chain now, instead of having them in parallel. What I'll do is I'll do that. I'll hook them up in series and then see if I can get an A3 and an A4. And I should be able to rename these two, so I could go in here, edit, and then rename them here. So I can name it whatever I want. It's going to take too long on this, so what I'm going to do is I'll get them all added, write them down on a bit of paper what they are, and then edit it on the computer. So I'll jump onto the plane now and get the voltage sensors put back into series without the Y cable. Okay, here we are in the Edge TX companion app on the computer. So I've got the controller plugged into USB and set it onto USB storage mode. So if we read the models from the radio, it will come up with all our models. And I was using a Piper 2 because I had 2 set up just for testing purposes, but all the telemetry data just went on to number 2. Delete the old one, rename this to just the Piper Cub. We'll go through and we'll just quickly edit all the titles of the telemetry data. Okay, now that we've got all that set up, we're going to write it to the radio. So hit write, that'll upload it to the radio, and now we'll go edit it on the radio, make it show what we want. Okay, so here we are on the remote. Everything's uploaded to the transmitter from what I just changed. So let's add in the voltages and stuff onto this main screen as widgets. So to do that, we'll open up the menu, head over to screen settings, set up some widgets, and this top one on the right here, it's touch screen as well, so we can actually just use touch screen, outputs, and that will give us our outputs there. So elevator, aileron, throttle, rudder, and our flaps. I've also hooked up some sounds to the flap levers, so it's going to say flaps 1 and flaps up.
Flaps 1. Flaps up.
And that's just handy to know. And I also slowed down the rate that it does it there.
Flaps 1. Flaps down.
So that's just whether it's actually going to work, slow it And we'll just leave that there for now. And on the main screen, on the top there, our top bar, we can set up widgets on there as well. So in this far one on the right, we'll set up a battery for the main. So if we go to sensor here, we should be able to page across. And then it will be showing 0 volts because we're not hooked up to any receivers. Thank you for watching. Like this video if you do, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment below letting me know what you think. See you in the next one.